Don't you lose that, Dan Barry. It's our first time back in weeks.
Hey, and welcome to the Almost Irish podcast. I'm Dan Barry.
Hey, everybody. I'm Dennis Rooney.
Mick Thomas here. How are you?
It has been a long 2 weeks. 2 weeks? I don't even know how long it's been.
Yeah,
I'll assume 2 weeks.
It's been I would say 3 weeks. It's been a long time. So we apologize to you out there.
I blame me.
Yeah, sorry my grandpa died.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I spoke about it on my podcast about why we didn't have an episode, but I never told people the reason because it's not my business.
I told everybody about your grandpa for 3 weeks. Just
Your
like
internet
so I talk
right
about.
now. Your internet right now is an abomination.
Yeah.
Really?
What the fuck you just said?
And those headphones look like you're trying to land a bird.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what that was. No one heard an ounce of what you just said.
Okay, good. Because I thought what I said was received very not well at first.
It looks like you're a pilot in World War II.
Yeah.
And you've even got the pilot voice. I got to bring it home.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be doing a podcast about Dan Barry's grandfather. Are the headphones working? I've been using them for my other podcast. I thought it would be an improvement.
No, so your
podcast then.
Am I coming in loud and clear? Am I okay?
You are so loud.
Oh yeah.
Okay, now I'm too loud. I'm the only one in the house, so I'm like my internet should be good. All right, hello.
Yeah, you're
This
right,
is
man.
fun. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So yeah, we had to miss a few weeks for that, and it wasn't fun. But we're back. Whatever that means.
Back. Yeah. Let's not do that again. So let's not do that again. Let's not leave a long distance in between.
I'll do my best, Mick. But honestly,
So,
Well,
if
it's everybody's.
any family members ready to die, now is the time to speak up and go, listen.
yeah. Look, you got to die in like an off day so we can record the podcast and then we can bury you and then.
I mean, Dan, to be honest with you, though, not to be a dick about it, but Rooney turned up when his dog died. So
yeah, he's the one who killed it. Though.
I didn't kill it. I mean, I killed it with love. You know what I mean? I love my dog. Rest
And
in
the
peace.
river, apparently.
There he is. He's always with us on the pod now.
oh shit.
No, I blame myself because here's the thing. Dan Barry's grandpa passed away. Couldn't be helped. But I had a very lax attitude of like, no, we'll skip a week. Who cares? And which is like, that's a crime in podcasting. So I blame me, ladies and gentlemen. It won't happen again. I apologize. And sorry to hear. I mean, not the first time I'm hearing about it, but rest in peace to what was his name?
Charles.
Mick's like changed the fucking subject, Rooney.
I'm laughing because Rooney goes, it's not the first I'm hearing about. Like, imagine it was.
Like Rooney was just happy not to do the podcast, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, and Dan's grandpa died."
It's a win-win. It's a big week for me. I don't have to.
Wait, what? Oh my God, Dad, I'm so sorry.
Take 2 weeks, then.
Oh my God.
My God, why are we having this show? We're monsters.
I know.
And then like you guys are like, he's like secretly texting you and it's not like, yeah, I can't believe Dan's not doing it. Like,
No, not. I figured you guys were texting like fucking Rooney. This guy so quickly to be like, oh, skip a week. Who cares?
So what have you guys been up to since then?
burying my grandpa.
In some cultures, Dan, they just fucking throw it onto a heap and you move on. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, not in the Irish culture.
Well, hold on.
We bury, we drink, and we tell stories. That's all we really do.
Did you hear? I mean, if you don't want to talk about your grandpa, we'll definitely move on. There's tons to talk about. Mick ran 50 miles yesterday. I've been doing absolutely nothing for 3 weeks. But is there anything like interesting you heard about your grandpa that you hadn't heard before? You know, everyone's reminiscing, everyone's talking, people are drinking, loose lips.
Well, so he went to World War II. He was in the Army Corps of Engineers, and
But now he served or he just went there like it
he just went, no,
like it was a show.
he
I got
served.
2 tickets to WW.
He just wanted the free boat ride to Japan. That's really what it was. He's a big fan of cruises, it turns out.
Very cheap flights to the Pacific Theater during World War II, it turns out.
So did your grandpa have a hat like WW2? Like, you know, sometimes I'll see veterans and like I used to think like, oh, they sold merch at the Korean War.
They got a little booth.
He was so anti like putting that out there. Like he's always been a World War II vet, but like we never really kind of knew what he did. He didn't really talk about it. He apparently saw some horrific shit. He signed up
some horrific shit. Usually guys don't want to.
He was Army Corps of Engineer. That's the one thing I'll say is like he just built stuff. He built like runways and for the airports and they rebuilt Japan. That's like what he did. But
maybe he killed someone who took his lunch.
Are we just speculating possible horrible things he's done?
Wrench, fucking whack. And he's like, I don't want to talk about what happens in WW2 stays in WW2.
You know that there's 14 Japs buried in that tarmac.
He stormed Normandy, but like in 1956. It's really funny.
He shows up. Where's everybody?
Shooting beachgoers.
What were they bitching about?
Sorry, I'm late, Mr. President.
But he so anyway, he signed up after D-Day. He signed up after Pearl Harbor, right? Was D-Day? No, just Pearl Harbor, not D-Day. So he signed up after Pearl Harbor. Like he was 17. They wouldn't let him enlist fully. He finally gets enlisted fully. He goes straight over to Japan as part of the Army Corps of Engineers, and he sees some horrific shit. But in the meantime, he gets like a Japanese rifle, like a bolt action rifle. Like he acquires it through killing someone. No, he got obviously they
off a family defending
so they
themselves.
just had a surplus of Japanese weapons they stole.
This is how we find out that Dan Barry's grandpa wrote "Turning Japanese," the 1980s hit dance song.
It's like an incredibly it's a rare item. It is not you know what I mean? Like you don't. So we had this in the house, and what he did is he took off the firing pin, and like people just used it as a toy gun for like a number of years apparently in our house.
Only in America.
So then he builds an extension on his house. He adds like a second floor and space and whatever else. And the electrician.
It's a big jump. That's a big jump from taking this antique rifle. So he builds a second story on his house anyway. Long story short.
He builds a second story of his house, and the guy comes in. He goes, "I will do this work for free for that gun." And my grandpa's like,
"Really?
Yeah, whatever." So he just gives him the gun because he doesn't care. He's like,
"Oh no,
I took it." Gun's like $290,000 now. Like it's fucking bananas how much money this gun is worth. But he's like, "Yeah, do my work upstairs." They were like, "All right."
So the dude, what you're trying to say is the dude who did the work showed up to the funeral like, "This is my favorite person in the world."
In a gold suit, just crying in the coffin.
The guy arrives by helicopter to the funeral.
Who is that? That's the guy who ripped off your grandpa.
That's fucking amazing. But there's a lot of weird stories.
Guy, I don't know, some Bill Gates guy.
He had all this weird memorabilia that he would just get rid of. He had a saber, a military saber that's apparently worth a fair amount of money. He's like, I don't want it anymore because he didn't want the kids playing with the sword when he wasn't home. That was his whole thing. He's like, they're gonna pick
when
up
he's home.
Sword. What's that?
Swing for the fences, guys.
Yeah, only while I'm around do I want you guys playing with the Japanese saber I brought back from World War II.
Yeah, he couldn't take the firing pin off that one, so he had to get rid of
it. We couldn't dull the blade enough. That means so. There's also 8 families in Japan who are we never did find grandpas.
Yeah, some of them are half Irish. A lot of people didn't know why.
They're going to the afterlife full of shame because they don't have this sword now, and Dan's just home as a kid. Yeah.
Guy in Japan's I've dishonored my family. He goes to pull out his sword. There's nothing there. He just cries because he can't even kill himself. Oh man.
Dan Barry's pointing the gun at his siblings. Her siblings are like, "No, please."
Pew pew pew.
The whole family, the Japanese people, they're they've got a picture of this guy on the wall, and they're like, "Hang your head in shame."
Yeah, no, that's a. The whole endeavor was a fucking nightmare. Obviously, somebody dies, it's a nightmare, right? But we had paid. When he was dying. This is all gonna be real sad.
Oh yeah, you told me this story, man. This was fucking I was like, wait, what? When I heard all this shit.
When he was dying, he was kind of deteriorating. He was it's hard to describe, but you were watching somebody wither away. And we decided as a family that we would not show the outside world my decayed grandpa. But we would have him embalmed, and then the close family, would have an open casket prior to anyone coming in. And then
he didn't have any specific wishes for anything like this, or
His wishes were to be buried at. He has to be buried next to my grandma. He's supposed to be buried at Calvert. He could be buried at Calverton, which is like a military
Yeah,
cemetery.
he's allowed that, right?
He's allowed? Yeah, he basically is like, I want to be buried next to my wife, and he wants to be buried. He wants the church that did it was St. Barnabas in Belmore. Those are the only two real things he had. And St. Barnabas has a funeral home directly next to it, which is Bartholomew and Sons. So I'll shit on them. I don't care. So we paid them to embalm him, right? Because we would see him on the Friday, and we understood completely like he was not going to look like the photo we had next to the coffin. We well aware of that, but we wanted to say goodbye and then close the coffin, put the American flag over it, put his like his dog tags and his like stuff over the top of it, and then like that would be it. That would be the goodbye for us, and then we'd cry, and then people would come in throughout the day and we'd talk to them. Because we ignore the body at funerals. That's like an Irish thing. Ignore the body and just talk amongst yourselves and then cry at the beginning and end. It's like a sandwich.
You rest your drink on the coffin. Hey, hold that.
Yeah, hold that for me. It's a Bailey's. But we get there and the coffin's closed and we're like, yeah, he's supposed to be open for the family. Can we just open him now? And they go, you can't. And we're like, why? They go, well, he hasn't been embalmed. It's like, then what the fuck did we pay you for? So like, I'm mad. Like, I'm like, my family's not like walking away with this. Like they're very like, excuse me. So the woman comes back with a check for $75 and goes, that's for the embalming fluid. It's like, yeah, but then like we paid for embalming, which included the labor for embalming, which you've hidden in your administrative one. And two, that doesn't make up for the fact that we wanted to say goodbye to our fucking grandfather. You know what I mean? Like you can't just be like, well, here's $75. Oopsie. Like, so we get like real like annoyed. So then they go, well, we can open the coffin. We talk to the funeral director. They say he's going to look a lot the same. There might be a little bit more deterioration, but like, it's not going to look like it would have looked had we done the embalming. And we're like, yeah, you didn't do your job. We get it. So my family makes a decision like, all right.
Oh no. Oh God. All right.
We want to see it.
How many days has it been since he passed now?
5. So
you're seeing, okay.
But he's been in a freezer. So when you're in a freezer, it's a little bit different. It's not the
True.
same.
Okay.
But, he definitely wouldn't look the same, but it wouldn't look as if they had bombed him and taken care of him, which is basically, I don't know how to describe it to anybody else. He didn't look the way he didn't look like end of Last Crusade where they're just sinking everything in and whatever.
Right.
It just is what it was. So
you gotta say Indiana Jones though, Dan. You can't just go Last Crusade like.
Yes, I can. People know.
Indiana Jones.
Americans know. It's American treasure. They get it.
I didn't know until Mick said it. I was like, what's the reference? Okay. Like the Nazi. That's what you're talking about, right?
All right, Netflix book club. So
how dare you? I'm gonna let this pass because your grandpa just died, but you're on thin ice, Dan Barry.
Next week.
So they start like letting people in. They go, okay, we're gonna let people in. So there's like the front door where everyone comes in, and that's where they made us come in the first time. So me and my brother Mike just walk over to the front door because they said we're gonna let you in. You go to the door that they tell you you're supposed to go through. So then we like open the door because it's closed, and we're like, I guess they're not opening it. We walk in, we start walking in the back, and there's 2 people prepping the body, like they're moving the flag and doing whatever they gotta do. So the woman goes, oh, you can't be in here yet. I'm like, you can't be in here. And I go, actually, that woman, I don't want to say her name because that'll make it worse. But that woman said we could do it. And she goes, oh, okay. You know what? Just stay in the back of the room. And then like when people start coming in, like you guys can come up in the back. Like just stay in. Don't cross this threshold. Like, because it was like a 2-room setup. So like, okay, we stood there. We were very like, okay, no problem. The woman who didn't embalm him comes in and she looks at me and my brother and she goes, oh, you need to leave. COVID protocol. And we're like,
you take that fucking crying outside.
I said to her, I'm like, oh, at least you're being fucking nice about it. And I went to like walk away and she says audibly, oh, whatever. And I went, oh no, you fucking don't. So I start fucking
I wouldn't accept that from a McDonald's drive-thru,
miserable C-word. I'm like, you fuck up big time. We have an entire family crying in the other fucking room and you're gonna sit here and be fucking rude. I'm like, you gotta be some nerve. And then my brother goes, COVID protocol, what are we gonna give the body COVID, you fucking idiot? And we're like screaming at this woman. So it becomes this whole thing. Now we're no longer welcome in the room with my grandpa.
Your grandpa is leaning up like, and another thing. Listen, bitch.
yeah, stop it, you bastard.
I like the
but
idea of when Dan goes, there's a whole room of people in there and they're crying. She's like, well, that's not my fault.
But it was
Yeah,
like,
but hold on. Like Mick said it, you wouldn't really take this is a bad attitude for a McDonald's drive-through worker.
Right.
This lady works in a funeral home. Her entire job is etiquette and just like tenderness.
she sells empathy
compassion.
and sympathy as part of her fucking job, and she was a miserable bitch about it. And Lord, oh Lord, I was like, and then that like 10 minutes later, I get a message. Hey, by the way, you have to get your eulogy approved. I'm like, are you fucking shitting me? I'm like losing it. Like, cause
What do you mean?
well, originally they go,
Late
well, we
night
don't do eulogy because of COVID. And I'm like, that's a lie. That's a bullshit lie because you let people do readings. And therefore, the only reason you're not letting someone do a eulogy is because you don't want them to talk about the dead body that is not like church oriented, which is horseshit because eulogy's been done since the fucking 15th century. So I don't want to hear this bullshit. So I was like losing my goddamn mind. So it becomes a whole thing where I'm like, I gotta get my fucking eulogy approved. I'm like, what do you think? I'm gonna fucking say some shitty shit about my grandpa? You think I'm gonna walk up and be like, this piece of shit? Like, no.
If I know anything about performances, if this story continues and Dan gets to give a eulogy, it's gonna be the best goddamn eulogy of all time.
It could be. You can watch it streaming. It was all right. I was.
You
crying.
streamed it?
They streamed it because you can only have so many people, and like people can't travel up from Florida to go to the funeral.
Okay.
So, but it was a whole thing, and then like, so then I sent them like I had to take my eulogy and like send it from Google Docs or whatever to like their email, right?
Wouldn't it be fun if the opening line was "Dear cunts"?
I started saying before we start, all hail the Dark Lord, and like in the speech, like I wanted to make it like that. But I sent it over, and my aunt goes like, "Yeah, they got it. Like they'll let you know what's going on." And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like,
They're giving you punch-up notes, so like you cut a little fat there.
well, yeah. Hey, that joke's not gonna land. You're really gonna have to sell it beforehand.
Like, what's
Here's
wrong
a
with my
tag.
Yeah, what's wrong with my speech? Well, apparently there's a Japanese family at the back that don't like it.
You were laughing about a gun.
But also, like, couldn't you just send them a fake eulogy and then once you get out there, be like,
anything?
yeah,
Like,
it's such a weird
he's a
thing.
murderer. Like, I could say
What are they looking for? Just length? That's really all they're. Oh, well, length and also what you said. You were saying, yeah, right.
They're
Okay.
looking just for content, and I'm gonna bet you $1,000 they never read it. I bet they were just like they wanted to put me through that loophole, hoping that I'd be like, oh, I'm not gonna bother with this shit. This is nonsense. But instead, I was like, all right, here's 2 pages. Go for it. Like, I didn't write any. Like, what am I gonna say? My grandfather didn't like swearing. What am I gonna say about him on that stage? Like, he wasn't an off-color person. All of his jokes were PG. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't that kind of guy.
Yeah, but when you've killed a bunch of Japanese people,
That was what's worse about it. He specifically killed 2 after the war. It wasn't in war, it's whatever, but like he waited till it was over. He's like, I'm hunting down Yuri and like fucking murdered him.
I think this episode should be called "Stop Asian Hate."
Comma Mick.
I think Mick said the least awful things on this episode for Asian. Mick's coming out in front for a change. Yeah,
It's the one time he's on the right side of history. So
Mick's going to be the whistleblower. Mick's going to be the one that's like, my 2 friends on this podcast. Really, I think it's out of line.
I'm gonna start with a disclaimer of I'm sorry for what they said. But yeah, no, it was you know.
How'd the speech go? How'd the eulogy go? Well received? Any
It was
laughs?
well received. I got a couple laughs, but it really was more about like, you know, like, because I think my family had been like kind of torn apart by this whole thing because, like, he wanted to die.
Assuming you mean the death, not the treatment at the funeral home.
No, the treatment funeral was like that's where they all came back together. It was odd.
Yeah,
we were all like, oh fuck those guys. Like we don't get together in like emotion or like you know, like we don't bond over like mourning. We were more joined over anger towards this person who didn't do their job. Like
I like the idea. I bet like your mom paid an extra $200 to be like, listen, can you fuck this up? Because we really need something to come together for. We're gonna go hard. They'll probably call you a bitch, cunt. Just take it and be real sassy about it. Kind of act annoyed. You know what I mean?
One of my sons is specifically gonna chew you out in the room, but you know what? Here's $200 for your troubles.
This is how we grieve.
Yeah, we grieve by screaming, but that's like, I don't know if it's an Irish thing or if it's like a my family thing, but like when it was all going down, like people were bickering internally, because I felt like they couldn't deal with the emotion of burying my grandfather. You know what I mean? Like watching my grandpa die, they couldn't like just be in that moment. So they had to find other things to be upset about because they didn't want to deal with, they didn't want to come to terms with the fact that like in reality, grandpa's just dying. Like, so my grandfather's final wish was to stay home and die in his bed. That's what his big final wish was going to be, which is understandable. And I can't say I would disagree. The issue with that is that this is probably like way too inside. I don't know if I should be talking about this, but I don't care. The issue with that is that we have to then provide 24/7 care, which we can't afford. That's just the truth of it. So we have an aide that comes for 12 hours a day. And
sounds like somebody is saying a pillow is cheaper.
Thanks, Mick. I would assume you would have said a
I'm over here, I'm thinking outside the box. I'm going, why not bring the bed to the hospital or recreate the bed?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like, how could
actually had a hospital bed in his room. That's what we ended up doing. But
which is very common.
He wanted to be at home, and what that means is there's 24/7 care. And what that means is that he lives with one of my aunts, which means that like even if she's not the person who's supposed to be watching that night, like she's going to be watching that night because it's her home. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it puts a lot of burden on one specific person, which is hard. So a lot of them are like, he might be better off in the hospice because then he actually has 24/7 care and we can afford that because it's like covered because he's in hospice. External care is not. Hospice is a lot of volunteer work, but you still have to pay the person who comes and like does the thing.
Hospice is an awful word though, like for what a person goes through. Like I remember like even like my dad was supposed to go to hospice, but they wouldn't let him because COVID was just breaking out then, you know what I mean? And it was like they couldn't bring him over because at one stage they're like, well, he was sick at one stage. Well, he's fucking dying. What? I mean, I don't know what you mean by sick. You know what I mean? Like, no, because he had a cold one day apparently and they couldn't bring him over. And
my grandpa got pneumonia in the hospital.
It was like fucking just the word hospice.
It's like, and then you're like, and then he's starting to get bed sores and shit like that. And it was like real bad. And like, so we ended up having to we brought him home. And so what ended up happening is that each of us kind of took turns like staying with grandpa, right? So I would sleep there some nights. I think I've spoken about that, but I'd sleep there some nights. I'd go there during the day and just be there, because like you need someone else in the house. Like it's not just the nurse, right? So you have people in the house that can help out. He wasn't heavy at the end. He was like 135 when he died, but like the nurse wasn't like just lugging up 135 pounds of dead weight to change and do whatever. So like all of us had to be there at different points. Then he had a stroke a week before Easter.
Jesus.
So
Christ.
Now anyone who slept there was pretty much like, is this the night? Like, you know what I mean? So it ends up getting like real depressing. And unfortunately, the aunt that lived in the house is the one that found him, right? So like all of the fears of what would happen, this aunt she got it. She got stuck with it. And it's unfortunate. And the problem is that people are very like on the side of like, let grandpa come home. And there are people on the side of like, we need 24/7 care, which we just can't provide. Both of them are stemmed in correct thought process. Like, we need to take care of grandpa and what's the best for grandpa. It's just differing opinions. And rather than coming to terms with the fact that grandpa was dying, they fought over things like that. And that's sort of natural. That's, it's people's way of dealing with this type of shit. But it caused a lot of trouble. And honestly, I would say that this woman fucking up the embalming did 100% like unify the family again. Because I was like, oh yeah, well, fuck that girl. I'll say Denise. That's not her name. But like, yeah, well, fuck Denise. She's a bitch for not embalming grandpa. And like,
why is her name got to be so close to mine? Are you trying to?
This is my go-to like shitty person at work name. That's like,
really.
Yeah, okay.
Doug and Denise. Sounds like a bunch of feelings jars in your household.
Oh yeah. And then you just seal them up and you stack them and you die. And that's how feelings work.
Did Denise ever explain why he never got embalmed though? Was there like we were so backed up, or
because it wasn't an open
so backed
casket.
Up?
Yeah, she just didn't.
Comes out like, oh, I got fucking.
So the way it worked is he died on Easter, right? But there are no funerals Holy Week. So when Holy Week starts, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's no funerals, right? So as a result, anyone who dies prior and is supposed to be buried on or have their funeral Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then gets pushed back a week. So as a result, generally the funeral parlor does the same, where they go like, we're just gonna move everyone back. So there's no like there's no like wake on Sunday, Easter Sunday, but then like Monday is a wake and a funeral, Tuesday is a wake and a funeral, Wednesday is a wake and a funeral. So they had like this kind of backlog. That's what I would imagine happened.
That's like the week they take off. They take their vacations. That's why this lady was such a bitch. Yeah. She just spent a week on a beach in like Maui, and she comes back and she's like fucking embalming. He didn't get embalmed. Like it's not even her fault, you know?
Yeah, it's not even her fault. Like, I guarantee it wasn't her fault. I guarantee.
And she's got to deal with it.
Director, and it's like her or whatever. But what happened was we knew it would be a closed casket, but we asked for him to be embalmed so the family could say goodbye. She probably read closed casket and stopped there. You know what I mean? Didn't look at the fact that we paid for the embalming. Didn't look for the fact that we paid for the body prep. Didn't look at the fact that we brought fucking clothes for him, right? Like, because we had to bring clothes for him to be shown. So why would we bring clothes if he wouldn't be fucking shown? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the type of dumb shit where you're like, you're a fucking asshole. Like, I lost.
thought the clothes were like, is like they believe that when you go to the afterlife, like you want to look good.
No, I really. Here's a fucked up thing that I was gonna do. So on Easter,
it's like, oh wait,
he was dying on Easter, and I genuinely, we knew, like when he died, I texted my cousins like, you should hide eggs on the body.
It's an Easter miracle.
Like just suddenly, like, or like just like roll him out of the room. So when people come downstairs, like, he has risen.
Or you go a little even more subtle. You just put bunny ears on him.
Yeah, I said put pennies on his eyes so people get really fucking freaked out.
Oh, I think that's a fucking great tradition, man. I love that.
The pennies in the eyes.
Yeah, to pay the ferryman. That's
a great little.
But we don't know how much the ferry costs. What if he doesn't have change?
Yeah, imagine like getting 2 pennies, like fucking pennies. This piece of shit. Like,
yeah, right. This pennies were fine in the 1200s. Like the rate has gone up to get to the afterlife. Okay, this boat's not maintaining itself.
The penny got you your own cabin back then.
the ferryman's out there like, haven't they heard of inflation? Yeah. These fucks.
You got to go to a comedy show and everything.
Yeah. Drink cart came around, like anything for the ride to the afterlife.
Oh, I had these 2 pennies. Ugh. Sucks to be you.
I only bought the 2 pennies
on the River Thames.
I think it's pronounced Thames. Yeah, Thames.
The River Thomas. Oh my God.
River Thames.
When he had the stroke on the Monday before Easter, as the week went through, Holy Thursday, or you know, whatever, Last Supper, Good Friday was coming, which is the day Jesus died. And I texted my priest brother and said, if he dies on Friday, he'll be back Sunday, right? And my brother didn't respond to me for the entire day.
You think somebody who, here's the thing about like priests, like with that, like I know a priest, he texts me all the time. He's like, fucking cunt this, that, there. He's the funniest guy. But like, you think a priest who is so, I mean, their belief is so strong, right? That you, no doubt, you're going right to you go right to heaven. Everything's going to be fine when you die. Like, you think those guys would have so much confidence and have a great sense of humor then, right? Because like,
he does.
It's all great.
I'll say he does have a good sense of humor. The joke,
but his grandpa was also dying that week when Dan made
I did also like he probably just went and saw the body, and I was like, "Hey, you think?" Like, you know,
yeah.
I couldn't just like mourn and be
all
sad.
Right, that's
like,
true. I forgot he was also grieving too.
I'm making jokes because I don't want to cry yet. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where like.
Yeah, I get that. That was me. I remember I don't know if I told you. I think if I told you this before, I'm sorry, but like about the funeral homes. Like in Ireland, when you die, you get put into a coffin, not a casket like they have in America. Like it's a coffin that like you fucking like a vampire and it fits you and all that shit. And when we went to, I'd never been a pallbearer before. So when we were carrying my dad out of the funeral home to put him in the hearse. Now, you put him in a hearse, right? And then what you got to do is the hearse drives to the nearest church, which could be like 2 miles away. And everybody, like 400 people, walks behind the hearse. It's beautiful. Like all stores, like shut their lights off. When you drive by, cars just pull over the side of the road and they turn off their cars till the whole procession passes. So it's nothing but silence. And I remember, like, I went to grab the coffin by the handles, and the undertaker was like, whoa. I was like, what? He's like, no, they're just for show. And I'm like, what? And then I'm carrying it to the car. I put it in. I'm like, what do you mean for show? Like, and it's nothing but silence. And then we're walking along, and like a pin, you could hear a pin drop. And I was just like, I turned to my brother and I go, I mean, did they charge us for the handles? Like, I don't give it. You could just hear like 400 people laughing the whole way down. I was killing.
Yeah. Saw that show.
The funeral guy's like, those are just for show. There's not even a body in there, actually. We got him back at the place already.
We just put weights in there, so it seems like it.
Yeah. This whole thing is spectacle, honestly. He was buried 2 days ago.
What do you weigh, 12 stone? Okay, we got that.
Yeah. 12 stone.
That tradition, though, of just in general showing the body is fucking, like, it's kind of stupid. Like, it's not
weird. I don't like it. I'm also like, I'm an atheist. I don't want any of this. I want to be donated to science, and I awake to be at a bar where you guys talk about me.
You don't have to be religious to be like, I want everyone to get together at a funeral home and have a thing and everyone talk. I know there's almost always a religious aspect to it, but like, I like that idea of it. But this whole open casket shit has to go. I have never been to a wake or a funeral, gone up there and been like, he looks great, or like, yep, this is what they would have wanted. A bunch of people staring at their makeup. Yeah, you look fucking crazy.
Can I ask?
Mick is wearing makeup. I knew he was gay.
Yeah, I know. I'm just shitting all over whoever it is. I'm
just leaning in the mixed casket like queer.
You just lick your thumb and give the person like under the eye. The next person who goes up is like,
Mick, your sister would go in. Nick's sister loves makeup. She would go in and be like, the cunt, and she'd just start making them up like
yeah, man, it's just a shitty, like, I genuinely don't give a fuck. Like, if I die in the woods and raccoons do whatever they want to my body, like, I genuinely don't give a shit. If I was to have a funeral, though, which I know they're illegal, I would love a Viking funeral.
That's
just
another one, yeah.
Just the arrow, casket goes up in flames, and I go over a waterfall. Yeah. I gotta be. I mean, you know, that would
They're
be
like, he's at Splish Splash.
I want to go down Shotgun Falls on fire.
You're in the wave pool, just like a flame.
End up in the lazy river upside down.
Yeah. I have a question, and this is both joke and kind of serious. When people walk up next to a casket and kneel, like, what do you do? Because I just sit there.
I can't.
I can say an Our Father or a Hail Mary. Depends on your religion.
I literally kneeled in front of my grandpa probably about 10 times, right, in the course of it, because you kind of like get to go back and like whatever. And there's like a line, and you feel like, oh, if I don't kneel, people are gonna think I'm a piece of shit. So I went up and like kneeled.
Or how long should I be here for? Like, am I you just like, you kneel down and you go, well, Mississippi.
I'm like adjusting his dog tags on his thing. Like, that doesn't look right. I gotta fix this. Like, that's what I did. Like, I couldn't. There was no like pray. Obviously, I'm not gonna pray. I'm not religious, but like, there's like, I didn't even like think like, I'm gonna miss you, Grandpa. Like, I said that like when I was carrying, like when we were bringing the coffin in, like that's when that moment happened. Yeah. Right before he died, I said to him like, you know, it's okay to go. We'll miss you, but it's okay to go. And like, I thought he was alive, and then he died that morning, and I felt like a real piece of shit for that. But I never, like, when I got to the coffin, I just kind of like sat there like, that doesn't look right. Like, I just started like adjusting things.
Dan's kneeling down. He's just like, X gonna give it to you. He gonna give it to you.
While you're up there, can you pray for the dog?
Dan is there, like, he's
well either.
Dan is kneeling down. He goes, Oak, nice.
That'd be great. I actually thought about playing the soundtrack to the Haunted Mansion at Disney. Just like the people walking up.
Dan's there. It's like, are these handles just for show?
Yeah. Are they? Oh, these are real handles, not like hands. Gotcha.
Fancy.
Okay. They're brass.
They're fake. They're fake. That's gonna be another $75 check. All right. I'm serious.
Me, I will complain about everything. Rooney, we've been talking about another trip, by the way.
I don't think I'm going to Disney. If that's where you're going, I don't know.
Again. Raise your voice again.
Yeah.
Hell to pay.
To land that bird.
Okay. You're going.
I was moving further away.
You are going to Disney.
I don't know.
We're all overdue a trip, man. We're all overdue a fucking just time away from everything.
Yeah.
I'm down for a trip. I don't know about Disney. Well, go ahead. I interrupted you though, and I raised my voice. I'm sorry.
Okay, so you're going to Disney, and if you don't go to Disney, Mick and I will pee in you when you sleep. Not on you, in you. So you better figure that out real quick.
So many options.
It seems like if I'm trying to avoid being peed inside of, and you guys are threatening me with peeing inside of me, wouldn't it make sense to not go to Florida with you, where like peeing inside people is encouraged?
Wherever we go instead of Florida.
Yeah, pick a town.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just do another. I'd be down because also Florida. That would be like we got a plan. I need to make sure I got some money set aside. Blah 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 blah. But we could easily do another golf weekend somewhere a 4-hour drive away or something.
4-hour drive is fine. I'm not doing another 13. I'm letting you know right now. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
no.
4 hours get you. 4 hours get you to the fucking Verrazano Bridge on a bad day.
Yeah, really.
I'm doing a golf. I'm doing a golf weekend on May 21st to 23rd at some place. Yeah, I'm doing with some. Sorry, guys. That's why I got to make these plans, you know. But I haven't been there yet. These guys have gone before, but apparently it's like a little somewhere in upstate New York. It's only like same thing, like 3-4 hours away. But you stay on the premise. There's a golf course is right there. There's a bar restaurant right there. It's like one of those things where like you get there, you don't have to drive again the whole weekend, pretty much. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna scope that out, and if that's nice. You know, maybe we do that, or maybe we find another place at an Airbnb. I'm down, guys. I miss you. I miss you, boys.
Well, good news. There's a place in Florida called Disney that has golf courses.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that's good.
Yeah, and you can rent clubs.
You guys are...
Yeah, you can rent clubs. I mean, you don't have to bring your own stuff.
They'll give you balls too.
I heard. Ooh,
you'll lose a lot of them. Just fair warning. They're gators. That's the other scary thing.
Oh yeah.
I want to hear a little bit about Mick's 50 miles yesterday.
Look at him changing subject because he doesn't want to talk about Disney, little prick.
Yeah. So
I don't want to. I don't want to blow through the whole episode. I definitely want to hear about this. That's why.
So I'm running to Disney where we're going.
I'm not going to get out of this Disney loop. Apparently, you guys are fucking goofy. Get it?
I like that one.
All right.
No. I just on June 12th, I'm running 100 miles. So yesterday was the first time was the furthest I ever ran, which is 50 miles. And I came home last night, and I couldn't get out of the car, like because my legs locked up. You know what I mean? And I couldn't get out of the car, and like I couldn't there's 4 steps up to my front door, and it may as well have been Everest. I was like, you're like
Leonardo DiCaprio on Quaaludes in Wolf of Wall Street, trying to go like You're like, Mom.
Yeah, and so I never ran that far before. But what I didn't tell the people I ran with one girl, Emily. She's phenomenal, and she did the 50 with me. She's doing 100 miles with me. But random points throughout the day, people from the boxing club showed up, and like they never ran far before, right? So one would do 1 lap, which is like 9.5 to almost 10 miles. The loop is. And then one guy showed up, the most he's ever run was 7, and he ran fucking 30 miles.
I saw that. Seamus, right?
Yeah, man. It was like unbelievable.
That's crazy. Good for him.
Did it make you feel like shit that you had to build up to 50 and he's just like, I'll run 30?
No, because I did a marathon with only 2 weeks training. So I kind of know that mindset. But still, I did 50. So for me, it was kind of my own achievement. But then I took my mind off it by concentrating on him. Because he joined us after 2 laps, so he finished up. You know what I mean? So he was with us for till the end of it. So, but my there's a pool of blood in my sock at the end of it because I think my pinky toenail fell off and then turned into my other toe. So so I have the blood from the pinky toenail falling off, and then the blood from the pinky toenail cutting into the other foot. But I went into shock. I went into shock last night. So I had a fever, and I had a fever, and I had the chills, and I wasn't even hungry. When I got home, I ate like a tiny Kit Kat. I couldn't eat. I had no appetite at all. So it fucked me up. But yeah, so how
you feeling? How you feeling today now?
I'm okay. I just I'm limping a little bit, but that's fine. You know, I'm trying to get ready for 100 miles. You
should keep the toenail and wear it around your neck on a necklace. People be like, "What's that?" Be like, "Oh, that's when I ran 50 miles. My toenail fell off." And they're like, "You need to leave this funeral home, sir."
They're like, "Why didn't you just trim
it?" Your nipples didn't bleed?
No, they don't. It's you know what's funny, because I was at the gym the other day. I ran 10 miles in the rain. It started to rain. I didn't I'm going to go run in the rain. I was running in the rain, and I had to finish up the run. And I was wearing a cotton shirt, which I normally never really wear when I run. So that ripped my nipples apart. So I was at boxing on the next morning, and the coach was there, and I guess I was like this. And the coach, I think I'm the oldest person there, which is sad for me to say that now and realize that. And it's like the coach was like, you okay? I'm like he thought I was having a heart attack.
Mick, are you extra horny today? Because you just keep rubbing your chest.
He just whispers, "Are you gonna come?"
Mick, I'd like you to stay after class.
But yeah, no, my nipples were fine. It's always a good positive thing to say that when your nipples are fine.
Did anything exciting happen on the run? Any wildlife scene? Where did you shit? Did you poop?
I shit in the woods 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah. I don't know why. Before noon, I started at 6 a.m. By noon, I had 3 hefty shits. Because I think the day before I was carbon up, and I think that because I had a fight. Well, I sparred a few rounds on Friday night, and then I went straight to I got pizza right after that. And then it was like I was
when people carve up, they eat like plain spaghetti, not pizza.
It works though, man. It works. And then
I have the cheese. I think that's what made your shit there, Mick.
Like that could be it. Could have been it. So, but then I pulled into when I'm running, I just veer off into the woods, and I always bring a fanny pack with me, and I always have wet wipes in that for that very reason. And I do a nice squat, and but by the time I took my charge shit, is when I squatted down, when I went to get back up, my legs were like, no, we're staying down now. We're not getting up. I was like, no, but I have to. So I had to grab onto a tree and I fucking pull myself up like I was Mowgli in the fucking Jungle Book. Just like,
Rooney, have you ever shit in the woods?
Of course I have. I'm a young man. I shit in a plastic bag one time and threw it at my friends.
I did that once. I didn't throw it at my friends though. I did shit in a plastic bag once.
I shit in a plastic grocery bag when we were out drinking in the woods once, and my friend was making out with his girlfriend, she's sitting on his lap.
Bag if you're already in the woods, you're in nature's toy.
Because I wanted to, so I bagged it up, you know what I mean, like you would your dog shit, and I walked past him and I just tossed it into his lap, and they're like, "What is it?" Ah, and listen, would I ever do that now? No, but I was 15, 16. It was. Maybe I would. Maybe to you guys I would. But
at Disney when we go.
I don't know if I would because there was a female involved. You know what I mean? That's a tough one to do. If I'm with you guys, sure. I'll shit all over your faces. I'll shit on your chest. I don't care.
Yeah, but you're in the woods though, Rooney. You don't need to shit in the back. Why didn't you shit in the woods? It's good.
Well, because I was gonna scoop it up and throw it at them with my bare hand, Mick. Again, I knew I was going to put this shit towards them in some way or another. Yeah, I knew this shit was going to be used for comedic.
You're going to shit in the bag and throw it like a sophisticated ape.
One time I was out in the woods and I had to take a shit, and my friend had told me, it's if you're ever out in the woods and you need to take a shit, you just wipe your ass with a $1 bill. But I didn't have $1, so I used 4 coins. Hey, that's an old stupid street joke.
So I used to be a meter reader, so I used to read water meters in Merrick, Belmore, Wantagh, Seaford.
Oh, okay.
That area, right? So I had to shit, and you're not allowed to shit in people's homes. That's a big no-no. And I didn't have access to a car. Let me correct myself. I had access to a car, but I didn't have access to the car keys because the car keys were with my partner who was walking around, and he was going to finish his route where the car was, and that car was where I started. So that's the way the routes work. Is it's sort of I would drop him off in the beginning of the day, and then I would just park in the middle of the route, and then I would go and do whatever. So there's on the Ford Crown Victorias, they had a push button key to get in. So I'm walking my route. I had to shit so fucking bad, brutal. And I had no access to drive the car, but I could get into the car. And I looked, and where the car was, there was an overpass in a side street by under 135, which is Seaford Oyster Bay Expressway for people who aren't on Long Island. And there was a fence, and then there was just a grassy, slightly woody area, which is where the lawnmowers go up to start mowing the lawn, and they can kind of come back. So it's easier for them to get on and off. So I'm gonna jump that fucking fence, and I'm gonna shit behind those woods. So I unlock the car. We have paper towels. I grab the paper towels. I jump the fence, run in, and just shit. And it's an enormous shit. Dan had a healthy breakfast poo. I wipe, I go in, go back to the car. We have Purell wipes. I wipe my hands. I'm ready to go. Upon wipe my hands.
Purell wipes for your ass.
What's that?
Why'd you bring
I had paper towels. That's what I used.
I got a question.
Wait.
Okay.
Upon wiping my hands with the Purell, closing the door, a Town of Hempstead truck pulls up behind me with the lawn mowing equipment. And I go, fuck, they found me. I don't know why I thought that, but that's what I thought. I'm like, these fucking guys found me.
You're like Doc Brown. I don't know how they did, but they found me, Marty.
I don't know how they got me. So they look at me and they go, how's it going? I go, what's up? And the guy's like, working hard, I hardly work. And I'm like, oh, fucking this guy.
Oh, you're hack.
Immediately, I'm like, fuck him. So he goes, I'm like, hey, same old, same old. All right, have a good one. He goes, all right, bye.
You're like some guy just shit in the woods over there.
I didn't say anything. He opens the gate. He starts walking up with his fucking equipment. And all you hear is, Jesus Christ, I think a bear shit in the woods. The guy goes, not unless it knows how to wipe. And that was it. That's the end of my story.
I thought you were going to say he's going to give you a hard time about it. And I was like, fuck you, man. Everybody, like, that's the one thing, like, I learned. And I know it sounds so juvenile and dumb, but, like, I don't get intimidated by meeting famous or powerful people, like our principal. Like, when I was a kid in school, like, I always just remember, like, everyone has got to sit down and take a shit. It doesn't matter who they are. Like, that's
what my grandpa used to say.
And
like,
for somebody
poo too.
Yeah, and for somebody to give you a hard time, did you just shit? Like, yeah, you think I saved it up from my fucking nice house with a magazine, and I said I'm on my way because this is my thing, is like jumping fences and shitting in woods.
Everybody poops, just like the children's book has taught us, but not everybody poops in the woods while they're working, poops in a bag and throws it at their friends. Mick probably has some poop stories, I'm sure.
Carries a fanny pack with wet wipes. Like that.
Yeah, carries a fanny pack with wet wipes. But yes, this is correct. Everyone poops, and it is the common denominator amongst humanity.
Yeah, but it's to, like, for people to fucking give you a hard time about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's stop. Like, it's like nobody, like, you're acting like I did this on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a fetish of mine to go shit behind fucking your fence, missus.
Yeah, I'll say he didn't say anything, but I think they knew pretty quickly that it was probably the meter reader.
It was still steaming, and you were 20 feet away.
I scurried away.
That is unfortunate. I remember when I went on this kind of, like, I spent 2 days of eating nothing but Brussels sprouts, and I was driving to a gig, and the whole way, just fucking tooting it up the whole way. And you guys have smelled me without sprouts. Like, I'm not pleasant. And so I pull up to the gig and I didn't realize it was valet. And then I open the door and I get out, and this guy got in, and like his job is to be very like nice and polite. And as soon as he got in the car, he went, Jesus fucking Christ. I was like, I don't even have $1 to tip you. Like, cause I don't carry cash. Like, you know me, I don't carry cash. I'm like, dude, you can keep the car. Like, that's all I can do for it. If you find a CD in there you like, you can just keep that. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
He gets in your car, he smells your farts. You go, do you have Venmo?
Guy's like, I wouldn't take cash off you if you had it, you filthy, stinky animal.
All my cash smells like shit.
Yeah, all my cash. I've wiped my ass with this $1. Here you go.
You can have these 4 coins Rooney used.
Why would you use $1 though? Would you not just, like, if it was a once off, just, I've done this before. Like, I've taken my underwear off and used the underwear.
That's a good move. I actually wouldn't use $1 because money is so filthy. God knows what kind of disease you would get by wiping your pink asshole with a filthy dollar bill, especially $1, maybe 100. Sorry, I raised my voice. Maybe 100. Because you just screamed at me that you'd wipe your ass with a $100 bill. That's right, baby.
No, I would just take
as you just told us you couldn't afford to go to Disney.
Guys, I can't go to Disney. I took 3 shits this month.
Sorry. Couldn't afford toilet paper, so gotta use the money.
I had Taco Bell. I'm broke.
Chalupa. That's all you say.
Oh boy. I don't know. Maybe Disney, but I definitely want to do another trip soon. Definitely want to play some golf.
On Disney, but I'm all about a golf trip soon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we should wrap it up there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good episode to return to.
Nice. Good comeback.
Yeah.
It's great to be back again.
Good to hear from you guys.
Anybody got anything coming up that's a big deal? Me and Rooney have a show tonight, I think, but it's not gonna be. This will be over.
Oh yeah, in Eastville Comedy Club, right?
Eastville Comedy Club. Rooney just found out now he's on the show.
I'm not on any show tonight.
It looked like your name was on. Let me take a look at that.
Are you sure? No, I think you're wrong, my friend. I will promote. Let's see. I'm going to be at Soul Joel's Dome. I'm pretty sure May 13th. I'm pointing over there because that's where my calendar.
I was like, "Why are you pointing?"
I'll be over there May 13th. No, yeah, I'm pretty sure Soul Joel's Comedy Dome in Royersford, Pennsylvania. So check
You're
that
not
out.
In the show tonight. You were not.
Okay, you made me very nervous.
If you want to be, you can be though.
I probably could. I'm the type of guy. I just show up places. People put me up. I'm
I am at the comic strip for a bunch of shows for the rest of this month, and on May 1st, I am headlining McGuire's Comedy Club in Bohemia. That should be fun. That should be fun. You guys should turn up and let's get up on stage and let's get the bunch of guesties, maybe a feature spot available for one of you. And
why don't you put the ask in? You're the big dog with the big.
Oh yeah, I know. You got to time it right, and then it's like maybe we'll get an almost Irish television. Fucking almost Irish podcast show.
Yeah, we'll have it live in the green room of McGuire.
Yeah, that's a Saturday, right?
Saturday night.
I can make that work, I think.
May 8th, I'm at Soul Joel's in Hazleton, Pennsylvania, which is actually, I think, a fundraiser gig.
I will not be at Soul Joel's ever. He doesn't use me, so.
There's a lot of people that use me, Mick.
Yeah, I could list a lot of people that don't use me too. All right, let's not get into it.
Yeah, I'll just show up with a comic strip with you and let's see if they throw me up. Let's see how that goes.
It's funny.
All right, well, that's it.
All right, boys.
See ya.
All right, lads, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again soon. Be good.